morning, my name is Amanda Miller, and today I'm going to talk to you about the team building with differing personalities training that I developed. It recently came to my attention that the staff at Andover Veterinary Clinic and Boarding Kennel need to work on team building, but they also need to understand how their differing personalities affect themselves along with team building relationships with the other staff members. Over the next few slides, I will be discussing what all it took to put together the team building with differing personalities training, including the lesson plan, the budget, and the evaluation phases of this. The first step was to analyze a position within Andover Veterinary Clinic and Boarding Kennel. The position that I decided to analyze was that of the front office manager. The front office manager interacts with all of the staff within the clinic and boarding facility, along with all of the clients that come through our door. It is important that the front office manager be able to build effective relationships along with realize when there are negative and positive interactions going on among staff members and clientele. The major tasks and responsibilities that the front office manager needs to have are they need to be able to interact with our clientele, interact with our staff in a positive manner. They need to be able to assess and understand what pets are coming in for, along with what we're going to be doing with the client's pets while they're there. They also do all of the money handling for the organization, process invoices. They need to know technician responsibilities such as restraint, putting together estimates for clients, and what the pet is going to go home to after their care with us. The knowledge that the front office manager needs to have is veterinary practice knowledge along with state and local laws. Skills include Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Avamark, which is our software for the clinic, along with just regular office equipment. And the abilities that they need to have are abilities of leadership, wonderful oral and written communication, and the ability to positively interact with everybody who comes through our door, whether they be staff or clients. I have developed 4 learning objectives for the outcome of this training. So once training is complete, we should be able to discuss all 4 that you will be seeing over the next few slides, and each of them should be hit due to the training. The first one is following this training, employees will be able to identify more than 2 of their own personality traits to aid in the effective communication between employees. The second is, following this training, employees will be able to identify at least 2 coworkers of different personalities to help build more effective relationships in the workplace. The third is, upon completion of 3 personality tests, employees will be able to identify and list their top strengths and weaknesses. And the fourth, after successful completion of 3 personality tests, employees will be able to accurately describe 3 personal motivation factors. Before I move forward, are there any questions in regards to the analysis that was done or the 4 learning objectives that I have proposed? All right. Next, I'm going to discuss the preparation for this training to get it rolling. The environment that the training will be done in is the basement office. We have a conference room in the basement where we can fit all of the staff members along with the presenter and their presentation materials. The equipment and materials needed for the presentations include a laptop, projector screen, the handouts, and the ability for employees to access the internet to complete their 3 personality assessments. The instructor. I am actually going to be the instructor of this training, so that takes a lot of weight and pressure off of finding an outside person to conduct the presentation. The audience for the training will actually be the support staff, the associate veterinarians, and the medical director at Andover Veterinary Clinic and Boarding Kennel. The methods that are going to be used are going to be a combination of instructor-led and self-led work, because the instructor will be taking all of the staff through presentations, videos, activities, and the self-led portion of it will be where the staff have to take initiative on their own and go to the 3 pre-planned personality websites to discover their personality. And the final phase is the evaluation phase. I will be having all team members take a series of online surveys. These surveys will help determine where we're at currently and where we're at once we end the training session. That will help us, as I will discuss later, determine if we need to go back through the training, if I need to revamp the training. So I'm going to speak with you a little bit about the lesson plan that I have put together for the purpose of this training. The first portion of training is going to be introductions and overview. I want my staff to understand why they're going to be going through this training. So they will have, on the very first day of training, a full overview and introduction to personalities and team building. I believe that different personalities can work together wonderfully as long as people understand their own personality and those of different personalities. We'll also be taking, like I've stated, personality tests. I have 3 pre-planned personality tests for all of the trainees to take. They will be receiving a handout where they will fill in strengths, weaknesses, traits of their personality, motivating factors for their personality. I want them to fully understand what their personality is so that as we go through the rest of this training, there's not much of a question and they understand how each work together. We'll be doing a lot of group work. I have a few of the first sessions including activities, working together to understand as a group what strengths, weaknesses, and traits their group took away from each other, and then they will present it to the rest of the group so that all of the personalities have a better understanding of each other. Group activities will include putting yourself in each other's shoes. I have activities for the personality traits that will make them work together as a team. So they will have to do things such as Mission Impossible. They will have to put themselves into that other personality trait's shoes, but they have to do it as a team. They will also have to work together so that they get that inner feeling of what it feels like to be a yellow, blue, red, or green. We'll also have quite a few group discussions. I want everybody to be open if they have questions or if they have a different take on something. I want the rest of the group to hear that and be able to have that open discussion. I feel like the open discussions will help in that team building so that all of the team members can see where each other are coming from. I have also placed a few TED Talk videos within my presentation and training because I believe that those will help with professionals showing my group what it is like to be of a different personality, work as a team, and how sometimes even if you think you're top notch and you're in a wonderful work environment, just because you work together doesn't mean you're going to necessarily be a great team. So there are a few TED Talks that will help hit that point home. And the final training will actually involve a scavenger hunt. I have planned a scavenger hunt around the Andover neighborhood, and I'm going to be mixing the teams with differing personalities. And their goal is to work together, putting their personalities aside or bringing out those strengths and weaknesses, picking up where the others leave off, and then they need to find all of the certain items on their scavenger hunt list. Before I move forward, are there any questions about the lesson plan? All right. Like I stated earlier, evaluation. This is going to be the final phase of my training program. This will help me understand if I got through and if I hit every point that I needed to with the trainees that went through my training. I will be having my staff go through 2 evaluations, the first being at the beginning and the second actually being after they have completed the entire training. They're going to be taking online anonymous surveys so that I can evaluate and ensure that they received what they needed. If they did not, for some reason, I will take all of their feedback and go back to those points where they felt like they didn't receive enough training, and I will revamp that and I will put them through it again. I also prepared a budget. So putting any training together, there are costs involved. I have 15 participants who will be going through this training. These are the support staff, the associate veterinarians, and the medical director of Andover Veterinary Clinic and Boarding Kennel. Training will take place over 6 days. They're 2-hour trainings apiece, so 12 total hours. And I've determined that the total cost between the materials needed, the presenter, lunches, as well as just time away from clinic will be $1,937. I have also put in a chart for you that we can later go back and look at if you would like. Return on investment. So it's extremely important to understand what has come out of our training and how important this is going to be. I previously put together interventions, and one of them involved the ADDIE model. So the ADDIE model is actually 5 phases, and the final phase of the ADDIE model is the evaluation phase. I feel that this is going to be extremely important to the purpose of my training, because I want to make sure that the trainees who go through the training got what they needed out of it. So by taking those online anonymous surveys, I will be able to determine whether they received that necessary training or if I need to put them back through it. 5 tips that I have learned about recently on return on investment include, when you're going through training, making sure that you're actually asking questions prior to the training. You want to make sure that you're putting them through a training that they need. You don't just want to assume that the people who are going through your training need it. If they don't, make sure that they're getting what they need. The second tip is to measure what the participants are doing, not what they are saying. So you want to make sure that they are actually walking the walk, not just talking the talk. The third is asking direct questions throughout the training. So throughout the whole training, you want to make sure that you're asking open-ended questions, not simple yes and no questions that are direct and to the point, so that you are getting the feedback that you need and the trainees are getting the information that they need and the training that they desire. The fourth is to get a commitment. Before they leave your training, make sure that you are getting a commitment from them with witnesses saying that they are going to put into action the training that they have done. And the fifth is extending training into daily jobs. As soon as training is done, you don't want to cut it off there. You want to keep going. So as the presenter, you need to go around to each of your trainees and make sure that they have carried out what they committed to during your training. The final piece of information that I put together, and it's in a full document that I will be giving to you, is a presenter agreement. What the presenter agreement does is it discusses all of the aspects of the training in regards to the presenter themselves. There are things that we do not want the presenter to deviate from. There are specific pieces of information that we want the trainees to be taking away. So the presentation will begin on Wednesday, May 2nd, and the final training will be Wednesday, June 6th. Again, 6 trainings over a 2-hour period, 12 hours total. It will start at noon sharp every day that we do training and end at 2. We will start with lunch. Lunch will be for 30 minutes, and then we will dive right into our training. The location will be at Andover Veterinary Clinic in Andover, Kansas. And any questions can actually go through myself, Amanda Miller, and my contact information is on there. The presenter agreement also goes over what agreement there was between the presenter and the trainees or the contact point of the trainees, including what materials they're going to need, which will be a laptop, projector screen. Those are things that will be included. Things that need to be provided by the presenter will include the handouts and the materials themselves. There's also information on there. We did have an option for the presenter to stay. However, since I am going to be presenting it, there is no need for me to stay overnight in a hotel, as I live locally and do not need that added expense, as was shown in my budget. And the final piece of the presenter agreement was just stating that the medical director, Dr. John, has the right, as if the presenter deviates from the agreed upon training, to put a stop to the training. It is signed by both the presenter and Dr. John, so that there are 2 separate people signing off on it. Again, this is in a document that will be provided to you. Are there any questions about the training itself, evaluation, or the presenter agreement? Or were there any questions that I didn't get a chance to answer? All right. Well, I want to thank you for your time today, and I look forward to getting to put my team building with differing personalities training into action.